Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Welcome to the show, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and give you the conclusion of, about bro Cellie, being his enemy and all this and that, right? Look here, check this out, right? So, my COS, Sammy, and Jermaine, they up in the cell. Now, Jermaine got cut. He ain't get stabbed, right? Big difference. Big difference, right? That's like on the surface. It might have tore a little bit into the meat or whatever the case. Maybe got a couple on his back, couple on his chest and all this and that. But for the most part, he's okay. Throw some alcohol pads, wipe him off, bandage him up. He gonna be fine. He ain't going to the clinic. We ain't got to bring no attention to the issue, right? Now, bro cutting into Sammy. He telling him, what you doing, man? Now, Jermaine is in there because bro going off. He don't care nothing about who in there, right? He should have told dude to step up, but he didn't. And this is important. I want you to hear this, right? So he cutting into Sammy. Said, you were told to stay out of that. That's their business. That's his business, right? So, you know you got it coming, man. You going in the rack. Now, I want you to remember the history that they have, right? Bro done robbed Jermaine's auntie's trap house. Y'all know what that is. He interfering with the money. Now, and Jermaine done shot one of bro's cousin's best friends. So this is real stuff that happened. This is not fake stuff. This is like real serious issues, street stuff. But this what happened. While bro cutting into Sammy, right? Jermaine said, man, I don't want to get into business like that, but may I speak? Bro turned to him and said, what you got to say, man? This ain't got nothing to do with you, me and him. He said, man, you right. But he just saved my life, man. This is my brother. Whatever y'all gonna do to him, this is what he said. He said, do it to me. Do it to me. Because he didn't have to help me. He could have left me for dead and let it play out however it was going to play out. But he didn't, man. And my COS looking at him, right? And Jermaine, tears start coming down his face, but it ain't like he crying. It's like he angry. He mad. He said, man, they tried to kill me, man. So my COS looking at him, right? He don't say nothing. He just walk out and he come and tell me everything I just told y'all, right? Now I'm sitting at the table. I'm trying to size this thing up. I said, do you think I care about what he just said? I said, when you tell a brother to do something, that's what they supposed to do. I said, that's what we dealing with. And then my COS said, Joe T, you ain't understanding what just happened. You ain't understanding what just happened. I said, no, explain it to me. What just happened? He said, man, these two individuals had a real beef on the street. I'm talking about blood in the mud. You understand what I'm talking about? Blood in the mud, y'all. And peace in a situation like that is fragile. It's fragile. But something done happen. They didn't become friends. He said, they not just friends. He said, that's not something that happens that fast. He said, but they done come to a mutual respect for each other. They building something like a brotherhood from like broken bones and broken issues and all of these, the mistrust and the deceit that's in the street. They building a brotherhood in spite of that. He said, man, you can't see that? I'm like, yeah, I see that, but at the end of the day, he ain't with us. He ain't with us. I got to thinking about it later on that night. And it really dawned on me, man. Sometimes, man, you know, when you going through something and you end up being around a person that you done hurt or been in an issue with, right? And you see them from a different vantage point, it becomes a mirror to you. You start to see yourself in them and how things just like that could go the other way, and that could be you. And what would you want? Here was this dude is in the penitentiary. He's a part of a family one minute and the next minute he's not. So I started to see Sammy in that way. Maybe he's thinking that, you know, the world can flip on him and that common tragedy that they experience, meaning robbing and shooting and all this and that at each other on the street, maybe that made them see each other, that they had more in common than they thought. It might not have been good stuff, but they had more in common than they thought. But at the end of the day, they were building something. And when the world, listen to me, when I say the word, I mean circumstances, force you to share the same space, right? It forces you to share the same space, and one or both of you are in a position that's not equal like it used to be. You'll find yourself wanting an ally, wanting peace, wanting friendship, wanting somebody to be there for you. It'll make you see the world through a different lens, and Jermaine did. He saw the world differently when he was by himself. He wasn't with the affiliation. And Sammy saw himself in Jermaine. Oh, yeah. He's looking at it like, this could be me. What would I want? Because at the end of the day, both of them were young and they wanted the same thing. And they wanted to make it out of the penitentiary. That's what both of them wanted. They wanted to survive this experience. And because they had something in their past together, and they were forced together, right? Because when you're in prison, sometimes you can get a cell change easily, sometimes you can't. But if you forced to have to confront and deal with the situations that you had in your past, you might not confront them because they never, as far as I know, they never talked about what they did to each other. They talked about other things and they found commonality in each other, right? And they formed some kind of bond based on that. They didn't form a bond based on what they had done to each other. That's not happening. They formed a bond based on, look, we're not that much different. We're not that much different. But Jermaine's life was in danger. And Sammy, that part of him that was still in him, he couldn't see himself allowing this person that he had been sharing a room with, had become somewhat cool with. He couldn't sit on the sidelines as the op of all things and watch him get hurt. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. And see, to me, once it dawned on me, that was bigger than anything that I could have taught him. Here I am in charge, and I'm supposed to be teaching him to become, you know what I'm saying, a gangster, right? In the right ways of being a gangster, which there's no right way to do wrong. Remember that. But he learned a lesson more valuable than I could have ever taught him, and taught me without knowing it. The people that you say you have problem with, the people that you label your op, right? Those individuals are just like you. You got more in common with them than you think. You got more in common with them than you think. And you're going to one day find yourself in a situation where you're going to share an experience. You're going to share an experience, and it's going to make you question everything. Everything that you say and everything that you do. And that's what happened to Sammy. He started to question being a gangster. And I know you probably already figuring what happened next. Yeah, he still got put in the rack. I told him to take it easy on him. Instead of 6 minutes, I gave him 3. They banged him up though. And it wasn't long after that that he started pushing away from the fan. Pushing away. And I told the brothers, leave him alone. Don't be bothering him. You know, so he was still one of the guys, but he was like on the bench. Him and Jermaine became real tight. And what was weird, they ended up about the same time getting out. And they out there on the streets friends. Left all of that alone. Now Sammy's still the business. Jermaine's still nothing now. You know what I'm saying? But they go on about their business. They didn't let that beef that they had on the streets lead to one or both of them becoming a headline. You know what I'm talking about. So think about that. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.